Salamun alaikum, peace to you all, brothers and sisters in humanity. Hope you're doing well. So, today exactly has been 2 years of me being on YouTube and being Quran-Alone. And what did I find? I'm going to do a little discussion about it. When back in January 2024, when I was thinking of, doing some research in this Quran-Alone scenario, I was like, what is all of this? Because I never heard of it ever. Maybe in the past I just heard one two hadith about a man coming, sitting on a couch and saying that a time will come that people won't be accepting hadith. So I had heard that before, but it didn't come across me as a big thing, because I was like, everybody, hadith is a part of Islam, right? Everybody knows hadith and stuff. So I didn't pay any much attention to it. But I do remember that back in maybe 2016 or 2015, I had a friend, and he was at the point, he put this in front of me. He was like, man, I just don't understand this. What is hadith and why does it have to be important? And honestly, at that point, I really defended the point, and I said, no, hadith is the sayings of the Prophet, and you need to know this. How will you understand things otherwise? And blah, 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 blah. And yeah, a lot of that had, like I was saying that, regarding the Dajjal, how will you know what is the Dajjal and all of that? And it's Dajjal's time, or, big fitna, big problems, sinful acts everywhere and all of that. So I kind of summed it all up into that package and gave it to him that, hadith is important. Well, I don't know that person now. I have no idea. I hope Allah has guided him. But at that point, this thing came across me. So I had no idea. So what have I actually found in my 2 years of being on YouTube and being Quran-Alone in general? What kind of things that I came across? I would like to share some of those. So basically, if anybody decides to let go of the cultural, traditional Islamic system, whatever sect you belong to, what actually happens in the beginning is that you are still enveloped in the program that you have lived all your life, or since whenever you have adhered to that religion. But the main thing is that you need to understand that it's not you press a button and you're something different. It took a long time for me to get off practices, beliefs, understanding, and it took me like almost a year to first figure out that what is Islam and what is not Islam. Because we're given, like YouTube, internet, everything full of, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm a Jew, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm a Jew. That's a broad umbrella term. You need to specify who you are so we know exactly what you believe in. Because this word Muslim is the most, hijacked term ever I can imagine in this era. The most hijacked term. Because they would say, I'm a Muslim, I submit to God. Okay, brilliant. The word Muslim, you need to first understand what that is. So anyways, I'll get back to this point later on in the conversation, hopefully. In the beginning, when I came to the Quran-Alone thing, so there were two groups that came in front of me. One was the Quran-Alone people of different countries, and one was of my own country, Pakistan. That was very kind of helpful in determining what is more right. You can peel more layers of the onion. Why I say that is because the Urdu language has almost 50 to 70% Arabic infused in it. And but it's in a very strange sort of arrangement. There's a lot of flaws in it as well, but what I see is that Arabic language is quite efficiently imbued in Urdu language. So it kind of helped me figure out what's what. So in the beginning, I took I took a Quran class from an individual in Karachi, my hometown. I did that online, and the person is quite an intellectual person. I kind of like, according to what I have found in these 2 years, I disagree with a lot of these people or groups and all. But what I liked about him is that he agrees that his knowledge and his interpretation of the Quran is according to the little box that he lives in, and he agrees and admits that if somebody comes to him with a much better interpretation, much more wider, grander horizon, he would accept him. So for me, that is a very brilliant thing. Why? Because that's a humble thing, that you accept that the more I get to find out things, I figure out that I didn't know that. Brilliant. Okay, so anyways, the Urdu Quran-Alone community, and then there's the international Quran-Alone community. So in the beginning, I used to think that, oh, it's all so plain and simple, and like it's just like transparent and all of that. And in the beginning, I came to this whole understanding by going to Umar Zaid's podcast. I used to listen to him a lot, and I used to listen to Umar Baloch back in the day as well. So from there on, like I found Baba Shoaib, and I heard him, and I was like, yeah, what's all of this about? Like, this guy's I'll be honest, I went on his channel, and in the beginning I got really hyped up and pumped up the way he was like, oh, mushrik, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I was really hyped up. Why? Because I had some sort of a revenge urge inside me because of living 39 years in lies. It's a big, catastrophe that you get to know that, oh my God, my whole life I was believing in things which are not from the creator who made us, but they're attributed to people, and there's no guarantee whether it is true or not. Well, this consensus and ijma can literally go to hell. Why? Because Allah says in the Quran that if you follow the majority, they are going to lead you astray, because they do conjectures. Anyways, so I came to this understanding, and I started doing some digging. I started to visit Baba Shoaib's podcast as well. There's a guy called Muhammad from God. I checked him out as well. And I was like, okay, fine. These guys have a very solid point. And why? Because I was in a very beginning phase, and I was like, okay, fine. Reject hadith, reject man-made, this, blah, 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 blah. In the meanwhile, I started, as I like in my whole past, like I've been into like strange information and occult, esoteric conspiracies and all of that. So I got into a bit into the Tartarian flat earth as well. But those guys were talking about things which were, not linking with the Quran as such, but I had a desire to find, some sort of substance to stand upon. So I was just looking around, and I was checking everything. And then what actually happened was, I guess it was March. I don't exactly remember, March 2024. And then I basically was on this channel I had found called Sola Qur'ana. And he had made some videos about finding the real Makkah. And I checked out his part 1 and part 2, and I was really interested in the whole idea. And the videos were very descriptive. They were giving understandings from the ayat of the Quran, and I was like, wow, this kind of makes a lot of sense. And by the time when I got to part 3, when I watched the third part, I'm not joking, I watched it 2 or 3 times non-stop, one after the other, like again, repeat. And why? Because in my whole personal past life, I've come across a lot of understandings which people don't understand in the mainstream. But those things were linking to the Quran, and I was so fascinated. I was like, subhanallah, how is this even happening? But anyways, I got onto that path and I started checking out more information, more in-depth things, and then it came across like it was pinging in my head a lot. But I came across this idea that what is hadith? Hadith is history. Okay, so if a person rejects hadith, he's actually rejecting history. But then I found people in the Quran-Alone space that don't want to accept this hadith, but they don't have a problem with history. So then what's the point? What are you doing? Because the Quran does not affirm that history. The Quran has its own content of historical value in itself. The Quran talks about Harun being a brother of Maryam. The historical, actual mainstream narrative disagrees with that. So if you are a person who believes in hadith, you need to decide whether you want to believe in Allah or you want to believe in some man-made book, whatever that they are saying. And why? Because all people around you are very much comfortable with it. So as being a very valuable component of the herd, I must adhere to what these guys are saying, and we all have to smile at each other. I think that's just people pleasing purely. But anyways, so people don't want to let go of history, but they don't want to accept the hadith. Well, that creates a lot of problems. Why? Because when you go into the in-depth explanation, like proper breaking down the root words in the ayat, and then comparing them with not historical as such, as in for research you can use history. I do it all the time, but you can compare it with all the mainstream like information that is existing at the point, and you come across understandings which go beyond. It's like reading between the lines. People just cannot do that. So in these 2 years, I found out that there are some people who are actually doing digging. They're actually trying to find out what Allah has actually told us. But there's a lot of people in the Quran-Alone space who are actually just like, just reject the hadith and let's do this same thing. Why are you doing the same thing when you're rejecting the hadith? You better stay where you were. At least you won't get hate and negativity in your life, right? As being Quran alone, like, I don't think it's a very easy thing to do. Why? Because look, I tell you very clearly, I'm a person who's alone. I don't have any relationship sort of associations. I do not submit to any of those causes. I don't have any people to answer to. I don't have to show my face to anybody. So in that sense, for me, it was not that hard. But for people who have associations and are living with others, and they are just simply for them to do this is like literally trying to swallow a bus-size pill, literally a size of a bus. That's what they're trying to swallow. It's not easy. Literally, everybody will cancel you. You will be deserted, abandoned, literally. Just like how in the Quran Allah tells us that, the Nabi would be saying that, oh Allah, they abandoned the Quran. Just like if you become a Qur'an-Alone Haneefan Muslim, just like how Ibrahim is in the Quran, everybody will abandon you. You will be a lost cause for this world. But okay, now the two Quran-Alone translations that are existing on the internet space, I'm going to speak a bit about them. So the first one, Sam Gerrans. So I checked him out back in 2024 when everything was gradually increasing in my life about the Quran's knowledge. I checked him out a bit. His English is very poetic, very Shakespearean, so it was literally like reading some sort of English literature from your classroom. So I just couldn't get the hang of it too much. And then while I was on my journey, I was checking out Baba Shoaib's channel. I started checking out his translation as well. And then later on, when I got into the depths of Arabic root words, and I found similar words being translated differently in ayat, like literally the similar same format of the word, with the same diacritics, they would translate it differently. And I was like, what is all of this going on? This is exactly like how the Sunnis make their translations. Maybe it's like, 85 to 95, 85 to 90% almost identical. It's just a different selection of words. I can make my own translation as well. Just change the words. I can make chat GPT to make me a translation, and I get it printed, and there you go. There's some another Sunni guy or whatever guy made something called the Clear Quran. It's almost the same thing. Oh, people are like, oh, I prefer this translation, I prefer this translation. There has to be, in your language, there has to be just one understanding what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in the Quran. That's it. The Quranic language is sadly a lost language, but it is the most clearest form of communicative language form. Why? Because Allah tells us that He revealed the Quran in a clear language, a clear lisan, tongue. Sorry, not language, tongue. So these translations, I don't know what they're doing, but people are very fond of them, and they are like, oh yes, 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 I can relate to it, I can relate to it. Yeah, you can relate to it. Why? Because you don't want to lose your programming, you don't want to rewire, you want to find the same thing wherever you go. You need to empty your cup. If you can't empty your cup, you'd rather stay where you were. Literally. Do you think Islam is a religion? Islam is a system of existence. Nothing more than that. It's not a religion. It doesn't have those things that, oh, you have to do this, that, blah, blah, blah. No, nothing like that. Islam doesn't want you to get engaged in futile things. Literally. Islam is about living peacefully with the world, with the worlds. But sadly, people take Islam as some sort of a religion like Christianity or Judaism. That, oh, you have to do things at certain times. Just imagine this. Whoever does these rituals, right? Like, let's say namaz, which they call salat, is namaz, like this 5 times thing, right? You are praying to a deity who is not a part of this time and space. So then how come you are like, oh, you have to pray to Allah at this specific time? Why? Allah does not even exist in those times. What? Do you think that Allah is waiting for you at 6 o'clock that, oh, my servant is going to pray to me right now? No, it's nothing like that. That's something that is part of the old religious programming that we can't get loose, or like we can't let go. I'll conclude this whole talk by saying that your reality is dependent upon your perception. When you change your perception, your reality will change. But whatever reality you perceive it won't even do anything to the absolute reality that exists. So we all should try and strive to align ourselves with that, not with world views, family views, religious views, and because mostly I know I lived a life of an extrovert. I had thousands of friends, and we're always just trying to make sure everybody's okay with us. But yeah, I'm being honest, if you are truthful, you won't have many friends. I'm being very honest to you. And if you are knowledgeable, it's also like a pyramid. On the top, you are alone. Because the kind of perception and knowledge that you have, people cannot stomach it. They cannot digest that. Simple. Why? Because people just don't do research. People just listen to people and they're like, oh yes, I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. No. I find faults in myself and I find faults in other people as well. Why? It's not that I'm there to like scrutinize them. It's just that it doesn't align with my understanding at the moment. But maybe later on in the future, if Allah gives me more knowledge, more understanding, my perception might change. So we all are constantly evolving every second. It all depends upon what do we feed our souls, our ruh, our nafs, our qalb, our fuad. What do we feed it? We can literally make our qareen weak just by empowering ourselves. But when the qareen is getting stronger, that means you're weakening. So I hope all that helps. It's been a very fascinating journey. The Quran-Alone space is an ever-evolving space, but I'll be honest, most of the people are literally just going in the wrong directions. I'm not saying I'm going in the right direction, but they're just going in circles, in those narratives, in those stories, in this whatever that's been created. They love science. Yes, science is just the observation. Your observation can be limited. You need to expand your horizon. I know of sciences which the world doesn't even approve of, or doesn't even, recognize them. They call them pseudoscience, but it works. In my life it works. And I don't need to prove it to anybody that it works, but it works. Simple. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is an amazingly magnificent creator. He has created everything in a precise manner, the way it should be. There's no better than this, trust me. You can't say like, oh, I wish I could be better than this and that. Allah has made you exactly how you were supposed to be. Now it's upon us to make ourselves better or worse. I hope this all helps. Peace to all of you. May Allah guide us.